This is the exercise, progression, and regression assignment. I will begin by demonstrating the open kinetic chain exercises. To begin, for the upper extremity, an example would be tricep extensions, like so. Now you can make these easier or harder simply by increasing or decreasing the load. Because what this does is it affects the gravitational pull on the body, which either increases or decreases the isometric action that the muscles have to take, as well as the concentric and eccentric action. An example of an open kinetic chain exercise in the lower extremity would be clamshells, which I'm very familiar with because I do them a lot for physiotherapy. This is the basic form of it. Now, when I first started, my glutes and hip abductors were very weak, and I did a modified version using a resistance cord around my feet while standing. Now, obviously, this completely alters my center of gravity, my base of support, the line of gravity. But most importantly, what it changed was that the line of gravity was no longer directly at a right angle to the line of pull that I was really struggling to create. And now I do a somewhat harder progression of it with my hips rotated forwards like this. This brings forward my center of gravity and the line of gravity to really place the effort on these hip abductors to work them. As you can see, it's difficult for me. I can't get my leg all the way up. A common closed kinetic chain exercise for the lower extremity would be squats. To make squats easier, you can do what my physiotherapist has been doing quite a lot of, and do them against the wall. What this does, obviously, is it hugely increases your base of support and moves your center of gravity and line of gravity back towards it, which takes a lot of strain off of the muscles. Another way you can make squats more difficult is to do them with one leg, which is something I'm also doing for physiotherapy to the greatest extent that I can, which, as you can see, is hardly at all. What this does is, obviously, like, there's a greater load on the limb, but also your base of support is much smaller. The line of gravity and your center of gravity are set off to the side, which requires a lot more compensatory isometric muscle action in order to maintain your balance and to do it with good form. Which is why they have me doing it for physio, because the issue is that my muscles are not properly balanced. So hopefully it helps. A closed kinetic chain exercise for the upper extremity is push-ups. If you find push-ups too difficult, it's well known that a good way to modify them to make them easier is to do them off of a raised block of some kind, raised platform of some kind. What this does is it moves the center and line of gravity down and back, which takes a lot of strain off of the upper extremity. A way in which you can make push-ups harder, which is the progression of push-ups that I'm currently working on personally, is to do diamond push-ups. This makes your base of support a lot smaller, which means that it requires a lot more compensatory isometric muscle action in order to keep your balance. It's a little difficult for me, especially since I just did the lab for the other class. As you can see, it's fairly hard for me to do.